Hey guys, how you doing? This is Off Kill Toys, and I'm here to give you a little news update report. Um, one of the most beloved fighting franchises has just launched a trailer, and you guys should take a look for it online. And by the way, if you could like and subscribe and give us a thumbs up down below. Um, and look forward to more news and game reviews and toy reviews. And I'm excited. Let's just start and get into it right now. If you take a look at the last Nintendo Switch game that came out for the Street Fighter series, it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. It looked like a painting come to life, a Japanese anime painting. Ultra Street Fighter 2, just an incredible game. Unfortunately, now there's no way to buy the physical anymore. It's sold out. You can still buy the collection, but uh, yeah, that seems to be a dime a dozen right now. That collection, Ultra Street Fighter 2, is not easy to come by nowadays. But here's the good news right now, and I'm very excited. Two fighting games are coming out. One's a beat 'em up, and one's a straight up fighting game. And that is the trailer just came out, and I let me just get right to it. It's Street Fighter 6. Spawnwave and myself, now I don't know Spawnwave personally, but I already had heard some information about Street Fighter 6 a few months ago. And there was a countdown by Capcom up on the website not too long ago and the YouTube channel. And I called it out as well as many other people out there. And Street Fighter 6 has now officially been announced with a trailer. And there is a character in it with Ryu. This is now the older Ryu, kind of like his master, kind of looking. That's the way he looks now. Kind of like he's the sensei now. I don't know where Ken is and all this. I don't even know if Ken's around. There's a character, a new character that looks like he's either Ryu's son or maybe he's Ken's son. Why would Ryu be training Ken's son? No. Did something happen to Ken? We don't know that. Um, did one of these older villains from one of the previous Street Fighter games, like Bison or Euro or whatever his name is, Urin, or even Akuma, get rid of Ken? And maybe Ryu took him under his wing, kind of like Ken Ryu's master Goken. Or does Ryu have a son? Or did Ryu just meet some orphan and decide to train him? I don't know, but it looks really cool. It's using more realistic graphics. Um, it looks really cool. Um, Man, Street Fighter's been with us since I think the original Street Fighter One. I think came out. I think it was like 85, 86. That's how long. That's how long the Street Fighter series has been with us. And wow, what a ride! What a ride! I just can't begin to tell you how many good, fond memories of that game that I've had since the beginning. And for me, the beginning was Street Fighter 2. Uh, I remember going to the arcades and playing it and, competing against other people. And then I wanted the game so bad at home. Finally, you know, I remember having a friend back in the day. I was in high school, about 15 years old, and met up with this guy. I didn't even know who he was, but I noticed he had this cartridge on him. And we all had Super Nintendos and everything back then. And it was my buddy Justin. And Justin had this game, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And the game happened to be Street Fighter 2. And I'm like, Street Fighter 2? That looks like a Super Nintendo game. It says Nintendo on it, but the cartridge looks all different. So I asked him, I'm like, hey, where'd you get that from? What is that? It looks like a Japanese type game. And he's like, yeah, it's the Super Famicom Street Fighter 2. He got it, before it came out here, obviously. We had a game place over where we live, and they had a place where they got imports. Back then, the imports were a real big deal, and he ended up getting Street Fighter 2. In that game, they called Bison Balrog, and Balrog was actually M Bison, kind of like Mike Tyson, but they were trying to say like M, you know, Mike Bison, I guess was supposed to be the meaning of it. The Japanese did it all different. But when it came out here, I think they wanted it to be a little different, and they didn't want to associate it with Mike Tyson too direct. So they changed the names around with those particular characters, and they ended up making, M Bison, M Bison, and Balrog, Balrog. Anyway, I digress. Um, Back to the story. I remember my friend Justin, he had Street Fighter, and I was like, wow, how can I play this? Like, where did I get one? And he told me, there was this place called High Tech Center back then, and they had all these cool video games, and I was just in love with the Street Fighter 2 at the arcade. I was like, I have to have this for home play. So yeah, we ended up talking and hitting it off and becoming friends. And yeah, we ended up going. I think I ended up going over to his house, and we were playing it there. And I was just having a good time. Justin was kicking my butt, and yeah, we had a great time. Then I was like, "Well, can I borrow it?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." But there's just one catch. And I'm like, well, what's the catch, Justin? Tell me. And he told me that there's these little tabs. You got to cut them out of your Super Nintendo. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. So he showed me the little plastic tabs. I ended up cutting them out of the Super Nintendo. And sure enough, that was my first time playing any game in the Street Fighter series, because I had never played Street Fighter 1. Um, After later, I ended up purchasing well, of course, I got it here in the States when it came out finally. After borrowing Justin's for as long as I did, probably didn't give it back to him for like a month. And then I ended up buying a TurboGrafx 16. Actually, I bought the Turbo Duo, and they had a game called Fighting Street, which is, basically like reverse the name a little bit. Um, it was Street Fighter 1, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. I get to play Street Fighter 1. And when after playing Street Fighter 2, he was just kind of taking like a step backwards, like, wow, this game is like prehistoric compared to Street Fighter 2. And so, yeah, I mean, at least I had Street Fighter 1. I got to know the history a little bit better. So I played Street Fighter 2 first, and then Street Fighter 1. Then after that, years had gone by. Everybody wanted to have the Street Fighter 2 genre on their system. Uh, First, it started out with Super Nintendo. Then Sega Genesis got the Champion Edition. It was like a special Champion Edition. I know I have it. I forgot the name, but there was that. And then simultaneously, Capcom also released Turbo Street Fighter 2 for the Super NES. And I had to buy every version of Street Fighter for every system that I owned. I ended up even getting for TurboGrafx 16 their version of Street Fighter 2, which was also good. All the versions, I think, in my opinion, were really good. Um, I just loved that game. It was fun to play, and you know, you play in the arcade. You get to test your skills against everyone. I love that game. And yeah, we had Mortal Kombat a little bit later by the time we got into Turbo, and then we got into Super Street Fighter, which I also adored. Um, I liked Mortal Kombat. It was a cool game, but I just nothing could take my interest away from Street Fighter 2. Or you know, as they down the road, they had many sequels down the road. Well, a few sequels down the road, and plus side stories. I just couldn't get enough Street Fighter. I had to have every game. And now, here we are years later after Street Fighter 5, which I thought was a pretty good game. Street Fighter 4, I like that game too. Now we finally got Street Fighter 6, and Ryu is now older now. Ryu. I guess everybody pronounces it a little bit different. In the animated series, it was actually Ryu. But yeah, it looks like Ryu now has his own student, and he's training him. Ryu has a beard, and he looks little bit older and wiser. And God, it looks like he worked out a lot more too. Got a lot bigger. But yeah, they got this new character. It's kind of hard to say if he's a Ken's son or just a completely new guy that Ryu takes under his wing. Um, it just looks like it's going to be a cool thing. Um, I'm hearing that they may have killed off M. Bison completely because if you look at the ending in I believe it was Street Fighter Five, or yeah, it was Street Fighter Five, that Bison is finally killed, and I think that Yurin character, he's the original boss from Street Fighter Three. I think takes over as the new, you know, evil main antagonist, if you will. And yeah, he's very godlike. He's got like a small G, not a capital G, just to make that clear. He's like got a very angelic look about him. Like he's got, if you played Street Fighter games, you already know the story. Like he's part red, part blue. He's got like a hot and cold power. Like fire comes out in one hand, ice comes out in the other. He's um he's definitely a really interesting character. I remember when I first saw him in Street Fighter 3, I'm like, where's Bison? Kind of didn't like him, but here we are years later. I mean, I liked him and I didn't like him. I'm like, well, you still can't beat the original characters. Like, it's cool to have new characters in Street Fighter 3, but why can't we have the old ones mixed with the new ones? And yeah, we got that with, I believe, it was Street Fighter 4 and 5. It was nice to have that mix of all those. I'm hoping in Street Fighter 6 that we're going to get the same kind of mix. I really am. And I got to throw this out there. I'm digressing from the Street Fighter series for a moment. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that's supposed to come out, I believe, well, it's definitely coming out on the Nintendo Switch. And I'm pretty positive it's coming out on the other systems as well, like PS4, PS5, the Xbox systems, and PC. That's going to be a good game. And we've got multiplayer options in the Ninja Turtle games. We always have. This one's going to have up to 4 players. But the nice thing, here's what really, this is what I was expecting too. Nobody told me, I just was expecting it. You got 2 additional players in the game. And it got announced, everything got announced, one at a time, of course. But not only can you play as all 4 turtles, as expected already, but you have the additions of April O'Neil and Master Splinter as part of that that game, Shredder's Revenge, and it just looks phenomenal. Um, Now that's a beat 'em up. I wouldn't call it a street fighting game. That's street fighting is more along the lines of Mortal Kombat, Fatal Fury, like SNK games, and of course Street Fighter. But it's a good beat 'em up, kind of like Final Fight or Streets of Rage. Um, Beautiful game. Um, can't say enough good things about these series. I mean, it's about time they brought back the Ninja Turtles, and it's about time we got another, sequel, an official sequel, not a carry on. Street Fighter Five, this edition, the Champion Edition, this, all that. We're actually getting a real legit sequel for Street Fighter, and on top of that, I guess you can consider it a sequel for the Ninja Turtles games as well. Back to the old school style, the old school characters, and just the way we like it, the way we always liked it. But with that said, I'd go check it out online, you guys, and check out the new Street Fighter trailer. Check out the new Ninja Turtles game trailer as well, with Splinter in it. With that said, I don't know what else to say except for thanks for checking out our video, and I promise to do better videos in the future. We're up new and running, and we're going to definitely improve drastically in the newer videos in the future. So you guys stay safe out there, and thanks for hanging with us tonight. Peace.